Hey guys, so I just wanted to share my journey as far as the vertical sleeve gastrectomy. My name is Alicia. This is something new that I'm trying. I've never done it before, but I watched so many videos on YouTube that I figured, why don't I try to help somebody too? I decided to go on this journey last year. It's something that I've been struggling with for the past couple years. I tore my ACL in 2015, and after that, I wasn't able to do the same things that I used to do as far as like exercise and just being outside and enjoying stuff. I used to love going to the gym. I used to go to the gym 2 times a day. I would go swimming. There was a lot of things that I used to do, and I try to shy away from it now, either because of my weight or because of pain that I feel in my bones. And I've tried multiple different diets. I tried the fad keto diet. I tried Weight Watchers several times. And with each one, I do well, and then I relapse on it. And it's always because I eat like a piece of cake or I eat some chips. I'm like, just screwed this day up, might as well screw the rest of it up, and then I'll start again tomorrow. And then tomorrow the vicious cycle begins again, and before I know it, I find myself 20 pounds heavier than what I did before. I finally made the plunge though when I saw a picture of myself at my son's birthday party, and it was enough for me to say, I don't know who that person is, and it was a big wake-up call. So on my own, I researched a lot of weight loss surgery programs and found one close to me at Franklin Square Medical Center here in Baltimore, Maryland. I went to their seminar class. Well, actually, I did it online. I'm a nurse, so a lot of the medical jargon I already know all about. But I did take their online seminar, and I found it very informational. After that, I scheduled my first meeting with my surgeon. They did my first weigh-in there at the surgeon's office. He said that my BMI was a 42 and that throughout the course of the next 7 months, he would want to see me lose a little bit of weight, but not too much, because then I would be not eligible for surgery. I started going to the classes and I followed the dietary restrictions. I was losing weight really fast, and almost to a point where I said, maybe I don't need to be doing this. Maybe I could lose the weight on my own. But that wasn't the case, because the same time that I started the classes, I was breastfeeding. I was restricting my calories so much, and my son was taking so much from me, that I was losing weight really fast, but it wasn't a healthy way to be losing weight. So the nutritionist set me on a higher calorie restriction of 1,900 calories, 2,000 calories a day, and that kind of just maintained my weight. I worked really hard at stop breastfeeding my son, and thankfully, about 2 months before surgery, I was successful with that. So the program at Franklin Square, you have to go through 7 classes, 1 each month. And then after you're done all of your requirements, so you get an upper endoscopy, a lower GI, you get checked off by a cardiologist, you have to go to a psych evaluation. And if they don't approve you, then you have to go to a second one. Some insurances make you go to like 6 of them. Luckily, mine only made me went to 1. I had to see a nutritionist twice, and I had to see an exercise physiologist once. And I had to get a sleep study. What made it difficult for me is that being in our class, there were a lot of other individuals who were larger than me or who had a lot of comorbidities. And here I was on the lower end of the spectrum, no comorbidities, and it made me feel almost selfish. When I spoke to the psychologist about it, he said, yeah, but you're doing this so that you don't get to that point, and you're loving yourself. And I still struggle with that. So anyway, fast forward, I had my surgery on January 25th at 1:30 p.m. My highest weight, I am 5'4". My highest weight was 247, and my surgery weight was 233. I had to do 1 week of a pre-op diet that consisted of 5 shakes a day and liquids in between. I did my best on that. I will say for the first 2 days, I did incorporate 1 cup of like broccoli. I felt like I was dying. But I don't suggest you do that without letting your doctor know. I'm guilty. So anyway, I went in for my surgery day. I was calm. I was excited. They walked me into the surgery room, told me to get on the table. I got on the table. I feel something stinging in my arm. I'm told that it is the propofol. It's going to make me feel good. Shortly after I did, Then they gave me a mask on my face. They said, "You're going to bed now," and that's all I remember. When I awoke, I had a tremendous amount of pain. I figure it's good to tell you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. I had a tremendous amount of pain in my chest, my stomach. I was dry heaving really bad. And I remember the nurse telling me, "It's okay, baby. I've got you. I'm going to give you more meds." And they kept telling me, "Okay, I just gave you fentanyl. I just gave you morphine. I just gave you fentanyl." I mean, there was back to back to back to back. And finally, I guess the medicines were strong enough that it knocked me out completely. The next thing I remember, I was in my room and I was kind of waking up and I saw my husband and my dad with me. Both, "Hey, kiddo, how you doing? Hey, babe." And I could barely talk. I could barely say anything because my throat hurt from where they intubated me. My belly hurt. So I just decided to go back to sleep. And they left. I didn't want my husband to stay overnight because we have children. I didn't want my children to come up because I didn't want them to see me in that pain. Fast forward to that night, around like midnight, my nurse comes in and she starts preparing me these little drink cups. That's this. She prepared a Crystal Light, and I'm actually still sipping on it, believe it or not. I've been keeping it real cold. A Crystal Light bottle like this. It's fruit punch, and she also added a 15 milligram packet of clear protein, which I highly recommend. They're called Pro Source. They don't taste like anything. My Crystal Light tastes phenomenal. I was worried about that during surgery or before surgery because I had friends who went through it and said that afterwards they couldn't tolerate the sweetness of anything. Well, I'm liking the sweetness and not liking the salty too much. So I was able to sip that drink a little bit, but I was only able to take 2 sips before I started to dry heave really bad. And then I was literally vomiting up, I guess, whatever was left in my stomach. It was brown. It might have been blood. I don't know. The nurse didn't seem to care. She was just like, "I'm going to get you something." She gave me stuff for my nausea, and then she gave me Dilaudid, and it knocked me out. Next thing I know, I'm waking up around 4 o'clock in the morning to people coming in, needing to take my vitals, the nurse asking me how my pain is, and telling me, we need to get you up out of bed. I got up out of bed, walked to the bathroom, I peed, got back to my bed, stood there for a minute, and then she walked me out into the hallway, and we kind of walked a little bit. Came back in, I went back to bed. Still, I tried to drink liquids again, the same thing. I'd get 1 to 2 sips in, and then I was done. And my pain still was really bad. She was just giving me Dilaudid, I feel like, all the time. And it would knock me out. So the first night and the first morning of the next day, I was really groggy and completely out of it. My doctor did come in around 1 o'clock to check on me. I was telling him I'm having a really hard time keeping my fluids down. And he said, I know from the nurse's notes, you're not doing too well, so we're going to keep you another night. I would say it was about 6 o'clock that evening, I started to do things on my own. I wanted to take things into my own hand. And the nurse that I had at that time made me feel really good because she kept saying, "I promise you this feeling that you're feeling now, it's going to go away. You're just having a really bad reaction to all of the medication they gave you when you were in recovery and all of the anesthesia that you got while you were in." Redheads have to get more anesthesia when they go under. I don't know why. We have a higher pain tolerance and we have a higher go to sleep tolerance. I guess that's what you would call it. I'm going to take a drink real quick. I highly recommend that afterwards you do drink from these medicine cups. I tried a sippy cup and I was taking in too much air. I had to call my program director and explain to her what was going on. And she said, no, don't use sippy cups. You're going to be taking in too much air. And she was right. After I started to go back to these, I was able to take in more liquid at one time. So I have to drink 4 of these within an hour. And I started this at 10, so it's now 10:13. But I've been doing this, so I haven't been like doing my drink. So the new nurse was awesome. She kept promising me that things were going to get better. She stayed on top of giving me my pain medicine. And then she's right. Like out of nowhere, my nausea went away. It just like dissipated. And the doctor told me that would happen too. I would just have a moment of clarity, and he was right. Sorry if I say a lot. So I started to drink things on my own. I started to look at the the tray that they brought me in for food and said, yeah, I should probably drink some of that. So I started to sip my chicken broth, sip my drinks, and slowly but surely I started to feel good. Like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Let's test my little pouch that I got going on there. Luckily for me, my fluids, as long as I take nice small sips, I don't really have any problems. I still have gas pain. That's to be expected. I highly recommend you get up out of bed and you walk, walk, walk. And that's what I did. I walked. And as soon as I could take a shower, I did, because just taking that shower made me feel more human. Like I'm in the moment. All right. Gave me a minute to just wash all of it away and realize what I've done. Like, holy shit, this is going to last forever. But it's going to be okay. So I stayed another night, and I'm actually very thankful that I stayed that other night. I don't think I would have been able to be at home and dealt with the pain that I had. And yeah, it helped me sleep really good. So that way the next day, which was yesterday, the doctor came in again, checked me out, and he said, how you doing? I showed him the things that I was drinking, and he said, very good. I think we're going to take you off your IV fluid, see how you do, and we'll be sending you home today. I was okay with that. 20 minutes later, the nurse comes in and says, so you're being discharged right now. What? My doctor told me that I was going to be going home tonight. No, we're going to be discharging you now. I think you're doing a good job. I'm like, I haven't even been off my IV fluids for less than 20 minutes. Didn't seem to care. So I said, all right, well, I guess I got to push these fluids a little bit harder. Called my husband. My husband came, took me home. The car ride home was not bad at all. It was a little bumpy and like the pain was a little bit discomfort, but the nurse gave me pain medicine before I left. She did give me an abdominal binder that I wrapped around me. That helped out a lot too. I will say I've had 2 C-sections in the past, and having an abdominal binder is a miracle worker. It just like keeps everything nice and tight in there. But as soon as I got home, I took it off because I feel like it was making me feel nauseous. First night at home was pretty rough. I sat and laid on my couch. I got up the steps okay. My bathroom is up the steps. I was shocked at that I didn't have any pain walking up the steps. But I have stayed pretty confined to my couch because it's the only thing that like mimics the hospital bed where I can prop myself up. And I have a 2.5-year-old that loves to climb into bed, and he kicks a lot. So until I'm feeling better in my belly, I have to stay down here. And he's been really good with it and understanding that mommy's sick and mommy needs this time. He actually has been on top of me to take my incentive spirometer. And that's another thing that I tell you guys, that it's so important that you use. The hospital's going to send you home with this. When you're laying flat in a hospital bed, you're not coughing and you're not getting fluids up from your lungs. I mean, you are intubated. That irritates your bronchioles. It irritates things, and it causes mucus to flare up. And if you're not coughing it and getting it out, you could develop pneumonia. So this is phenomenal. You just kind of like blow in, or you're sucking in, and you're trying to make it reach into the little point. Mine says 1500, and you're trying to keep this little thing up in between these two. And what it does is it expands your lungs, and it just keeps your lungs from becoming too moisture, and it helps you cough. This morning I was able to cough up a good bit of mucus. Sorry, TMI, but hey, we're all here for the same reason. So this morning I started to follow my pre-op, my post-op schedule they gave us at the hospital. How at 9 o'clock drink this, 9:30 drink that, 10 o'clock drink this. I've started to do it. That's when I started to like drink from a sippy cup, my son's sippy cup. This used to have a lid on it, but it was filling me up with air. So I called the hospital. My program director said, nope, go back to the medicine cups. Trust me, you'll get it down. And she was right. Fluids are going down with no problem. My dad is going to be running me over some sugar-free popsicles because they're 4 ounces, just one. And like per sitting, you're supposed to do 4 ounces of fluid. And from what people have told me, you're not even going to realize that you just took in 4 ounces of fluid because you're sucking on it. So I'm pretty excited to try that. But overall, I'm home. Things are going good. I actually got up and swept the floors a little bit. I hated that while I was gone, my kids and my husband got a little lazy, but I was able to do it with little or no pain. I took my Zofran this morning. It went under my tongue, supposed to keep my nausea at bay, and dizziness. I will say that I've had a struggle getting my protein shake in because it's so thick. Sorry, I'm burping. Got to get the gas out. And the last pill, I have pain medicine. I have oxycodone that I can take. I'm saving that more so at night because that's when I'm really uncomfortable. I was able to take it last night and it knocked me out pretty good, but only for a couple hours. The last pill I have to take is omeprazole. If I said that wrong, please forgive me, but it comes in a capsule form and I have to break it open and put it into pudding and swallow it whole. Do not ever chew. They say that it's extremely bitter and disgusting. I wish that came in liquid form. You know, just the thought of these little beads getting stuck somewhere in my belly scares me, but they say that it's less than a 1%. I haven't weighed myself. I'm not going to weigh myself. I was told you don't want to do that after surgery because you might not have lost anything because they pumped you up with fluids while you're in the hospital, and people get discouraged when they come home and be like, oh, I didn't lose any weight. Give it a week. I'm going to wait until I go to my post-op appointment and let the doctor give me a true weight and then see how I feel. But that's pretty much how I'm doing. I'll try to get back with you guys in a couple days, give you an update. I hope you enjoyed this. Take care, and I hope you're okay. I pray for speedy recovery for all of you. Take your time, drink your fluids, sip, 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 get up and move, pass gas. You will feel 100% better when all these things start to occur. And get your multivitamin in. That's one thing I will say last. My multivitamin, I got the Bariatric Advantage 3-in-1. It's the Wild Berry Punch. I thought it would come out red. Mine came out yellow, and it's phenomenal. I love the way it tastes. I love it. But all I have to do is drink 8 ounces of that a day, and I'm done. I don't have to take anything else. So this morning for my 2 clear liquid sessions, I drank nothing but my multivitamin, and then I'll save the other one until my 2 clear liquid sessions tonight. But I can drink any other liquid in between. So I highly recommend that. Get you a multivitamin that is 3-in-1 where you can prepare it in a drink, because you're getting your fluids in and getting your multivitamins in. Who wouldn't want to do it? All right. So anyway, I'll get back with you guys. Hope you have a good one. Take care. Rest up. Lots of protein, lots of fluids. Sip, sip, sip. Cough, cough, cough. Fart, fart, fart. And walk, walk, walk. Bye.